today's segment we're going to be looking at savings and wealth creation habits and really the installation of these kind of habits from an early age. Morris Massey suggested some time ago that really the ages between 0 and 7 are some of the most important years when it comes to instilling habits in a person. And really these are the years that habits and strategies are formed, and these are the habits and strategies that really get sent back to the unconscious mind and really throughout the life of the individual get used time and time again. Habits are hard to break, and if from an early age good habits can be instilled in an individual, then it's likely that this individual is going to take these habits, even though they may be totally consciously unaware of it, but unconsciously they'll take these habits and they'll play them out time and time again. And so from the point of view of savings and wealth creation, they'll probably find savings and wealth creation to be a relatively easy thing. The flip side to that is that if bad habits are instilled, that the individual may take these habits throughout their life and they may find it a little difficult to save money and to generate wealth, because a lot of their internal hardwiring is such that it's really fighting against that conscious decision to save money and generate wealth. To tell us more about this, we're going to be speaking with Trudy McGowan from Kids Money. Kids Money is a company that really looks at the early education of children and the education of children for savings and wealth creation. So Trudy, thanks so much for making the time to speak with us today. To get started, why don't you tell us a bit about Kids Money?
Well, Kids Money is a program that's about teaching children the basic skills about money, but teaching them in a fun way to make it an interesting topic and something that they're not afraid of. So it's for children that are aged between 5 and 12, and it teaches them basic financial skills, how to budget, how to save, what money is, all of those types of concepts, but as I said, in a fun way.
Okay. So Trudy, what is the value of teaching kids from a young age?
I think it's very important to teach children from an early age. We teach them lots of other things that they need throughout life, but learning about money seems to be something that's forgotten, and in a lot of instances people are afraid to talk about money. But it's very important for children to understand what money is and what you do with it and how you look after it responsibly, because they're going to be dealing with money for the rest of their life, and we want to make sure that they're financially capable to do that, so that they become independent adults and can look after themselves. So if you can start from an early age, introduce it in a fun way, then children are very comfortable with money, they accept it, and it sets a really good basis for them as they get older of how they should then manage their money.
Okay. So what about the influence of parents?
That's very important on children, because obviously children learn from what their parents do. And unfortunately, there have been a lot of parents that haven't been given the best examples with money from their own parents. And so they don't really know how to talk to their children. And in a lot of times, people have been told that money is taboo, you never talk about it. Which I can understand that if you were asking somebody what they earn. Of course, we don't do things like that. But talking about money as what it is and what you do with it is fine. And so the program that we have actually helps parents learn how to talk to their children about money and how to explain it to them, and then teach them basic things around saving and spending and budgeting and all of those types of tools that then will help them as they grow up and become adults.
And I guess it's fair to say that without question, money is not the most important thing, but it is such an integral part of our lives now that if we can help our kids with this component of the way the world is as well, I mean, that's something that will really put them in good stead for being able to move through life in the future and being able to, I guess, more comfortably live their lives and be able to get the things that they want to get.
Exactly. I mean, this is not about thinking that money is everything at all, but and realistically it's kind of the opposite. It's about understanding what money is and being able to make it work for you so you don't have to focus on it all the time. And as you said, you can't get away from money. It's what we use to live. We need to earn it so we can actually buy the things that we need. And if you can teach children early on what it's all about, it makes it so much easier for them in the future, and hopefully they won't get into trouble with money and will be able to have enough that gives them a very secure future.
So Trudy, would it be fair to say that if a kid can grow up with good money habits, and really what they do is they lessen the burden in that area of their life to have to worry about money, and then they can really focus on the things that they really want to focus on in life?
Exactly. I mean, what is better for children to have learned what to do with money. Therefore, that's not something that they have to worry about. That's under control. And as you say, they can then spend their lives on the things that they really enjoy, the hobbies or the work that they really love, and not have to worry about their finances, because that's one of the biggest worries that people have, is where are the how are the finances going? Have we got enough money for every month? If we can teach children early on to be able to save and understand what they need for the future and budget, then they won't have those worries.
I think it's also fair to say that if someone can actually be in an environment where they can actually pursue their real passion, they're probably likely to be highly successful just because they're pursuing their passion and really just going towards where they want to go in life.
Definitely, pursuing their passion and make them so much happier. I mean, the last thing you want to be doing is something that you don't enjoy, or worrying about things that you shouldn't have to worry about if you'd learnt them when you were much younger.
Going through university, I saw countless examples of people that would be working in certain areas or doing certain courses because they were highly paid professions, but they hated it. The majority of people who were doing these courses knew that they would hate it, but they only did it for the money. Now, to me, that's an incredibly sad thing.
It is, because there's the belief that you have to earn so much to enjoy life, and that's not what we're about here. We're about teaching children, no matter what they're going to be earning, just the basic understanding around money, so that they can, on whatever salary, make it work for them.
So Trudy, why don't you tell us a bit about some of the products that you have to really help kids learn these habits?
I'd love to, Angelo.
So Trudy, what do we have here?
Well, this is the money box, which is the real crux of the whole program. And it's very important because it's divided into 4 areas: giving, living, saving and wealthing. And the idea behind this is that children are given money, preferably for doing something. So they're learning that you get money when you do something. Yep. So if you have chores for them to do, and if they do their chores, then they get their money. What's really important is that you give them the money regularly, and that what is good is you give it in very small denominations. So they then can actually decide where they're going to put the money. And so for them, it's a start of budgeting. So they decide how much they want to put into giving, which is for them to give to other people or charities that are less fortunate than themselves. This is their living for their every week when they want to go down the shop and buy a magazine or some food or whatever it might be. And then this is for short-term saving, and this is for long-term saving, where it would go into a bank account and then go towards something major later on. What you notice here is that these 2 are locked down, screwed down. Doesn't mean you can't undo them. You can.
My son's tried.
But the idea is that those are not to be taken out regularly. They're to be put away and then obviously put into a bank account eventually. The other concept behind this is, as you can see, it's clear. And that is so that they can actually see their money and they can see it building, which is really important. So it's all that starting to understand that when you have money, you have to budget and you have to put some things aside for what you want now and some things for later. So it teaches the saving habits. So that's kind of the basis of the program. What's great about it too is it comes with a CD, so they can go online and they can put records of how much they're saving for each of the areas, which is very interactive, which is great because obviously children love to use the internet and go online, so the way to get them interested as well.
Did you have a recommendation of, I know that, it's up to the individual, but do you have a recommendation of how much someone should be putting in giving, what percentage they should be putting in giving?
We actually recommend you leave it up to the children. The parents should guide them, but it's up to the children to feel comfortable with what they're putting in. And they can change those percentages. They don't have to stay. But it's these are the things that are really good to let the children take some responsibility for. Yeah.
And is this because you really want the kid to really buy into the whole program?
Yeah. It's not meant to be directed by the parents. The idea is that they take responsibility for it. They've earned the pocket money, so now they can decide. They have to put some in all of the boxes. Yep. That's the rule, but they decide what percentage they want to.
Okay, good.
And as well as with it, there's a little book that realistically helps the parents to explain those types of things, so that when they're doing this with their children, they can actually feel comfortable that they know the right things to say. So that's just for guidelines. Okay. We also have a range of books which work really well. They're for the different ages. The program starts from 5 to 12, goes from 5 to 12. There's a 5 to 7-year-old, 8 to 10, and 11 to 12. The books are around a story of 3 children in the future who live in a world where there's no money. And the idea is that because there isn't any money, they're asked to go back and look at what money was, and they choose Australia as the country, and then they actually work out what money is. And through the books, there are some wonderful areas where they have to actually go online and find answers to questions. So it actually is a teaching book, and it works for them to where they have to actually find some answers and to go to the next stage. So they work really well, and it's really nice if parents actually read those with their children. And then we have the posters, and this is all about it being very visual. We have 2 different posters. This one is for realistically if they're doing their chores and earning their pocket money. You can write a list of what it is they have to do. They can tick it off, and then you can decide if they get paid the full amount or not, which is really important. And then there's also the poster about when they've got a savings goal. This poster, they can put a picture of what they're saving for up. It's always good to have something visual so they've got that goal to aim for. And then they can actually go through and work out how, and cross off and colour in how much they've saved until they get to that item, and then they can go and purchase it. So it's just teaching those principles around saving and budgeting and what money is and the value of it.
I actually quite like this one here, your rewards for actually getting 7 ticks in a row. Because really, I think it gives the child the opportunity to really start to, build that habit of actually doing things consistently as well.
Yes, I mean, this is great that you can actually, with them saying, well, did you tidy your room today, or did you unload the dishwasher, or whatever it might be is a chore, and then they can put the tick in. And then if all the ticks don't go in, then you can sit with them and say, well, you didn't actually do everything. So do you think you should get all of your pocket money this week? So it's a really good learning experience for them. And just like in the real world, if you don't work, then you don't get paid. So
exactly,
same example.
We've, as you know, purchased all of these for each of our kids, and I found it to be miraculous because the situation before that we had was that we'd go to the shops. The kids would be with us, and basically we'd walk out with 5 boxes of ice creams and etc. and the shopping trolley would be full. As soon as we started this and giving them a tick for each chore that they did, and they had the opportunity to accumulate their own money, all of that seemed to stop. And I remember clearly this time where we went to an amusement park, and my son, he went on the bumper boat rides, and he only had $22 that he'd saved. Went on the bumper boat rides, finished the ride, and I asked him, Anthony, do you want to go again? And he said, well, Dad, how much was it? And I said, it was $6.50. And he goes, Dad, I think we'll maybe do it next time. And that was almost as though God had reached out of the clouds and touched me, because at that moment, it's like everything had totally changed from what it was. And my son and all of our kids now are using these, and I think they're learning really good habits. And I think that these are the kind of habits that they're going to take with them for the rest of their lives, and it'll just be great for them in the end.
Well, yeah, exactly like that. He weighed up, was it worth spending another $6.50 of his own on something, or was it better to think about doing that maybe later? And I think that's a perfect habit that you want them to take into adult life. So when something comes along, they don't have to then think about whether should I buy that or shouldn't I buy that. And this is the perfect way of teaching that to hopefully build that for their adult life.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for your time.
No worries at all. Thank you, Angelo.